Jeff Demers and myself, Viviane Chauvet, and of course our beloved intergalactic delegations. But today we are in for a treat. Our personal friend David Wallace has accepted as an exclusive to come back to the Infinite Star Connection podcast. We're going to take a deep dive, and we have also an amazing being who's going to be coming in. But let me introduce David to you, even though, David, your presence speaks at all. David has been having experienced physical contact with sentient beings from the Taurus Cloud, Aldebaran Star system, where he was taken to a terra-formed planet named Bro Cali. Once there, David was invited to release all of the transformation he has stored in his entire life regarding animals, the Earth current environment, and humankind's behavior to some 2,000 ambassadors, scientists, and dignitaries of both the Galactic Council of Scientists and member of the Galactic Federations of Planets. His experience with the blues from Taurus as translated into a full-time, full-blown, ongoing physical contact, and we'll dive into this. David has accepted the responsibility of ambassador amongst the many ambassadors already in service here on the planet, and those receiving ongoing training and support for continued affirmation of the ascension process. David Wallace is a specialist in astrophysics. My apology, I will repeat that. Astrophysics, telemetry, cartography, optics, and light emissions. He is currently writing several abstracts on 4 new quantum physics sciences in deep space navigation, exotic sound theorem, and a new quantum hypertext for communication, vast amount of information through mathematic light language, which he calls CLPT and CLPF. On top of everything else, David is an exquisite chef. He owns a wonderful pie shop in California, and I had a joy to taste some of his phenomenal cooking, including pies and of different flavors. And him and his son Williams are absolutely delightful, delightful people. David, the list goes on, but I want to get back to you and I want to welcome you here. It is such a joy to be in your presence as always, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here for me. Your teachings and the ability to help other people awaken to new experiences never go missed. And I always tune in as much as I possibly can when you and Jeff are doing a live program. Jeff, how lovely to see you again, my friend. You're looking
Same here, my friend.
Quite well. And I remember some things that you were saying from the last podcast when you did a Q&A with Vivian, that you weren't too sure about prayer until your incident, and then
That's right.
Stuff.
That's right. You got to see it to believe it, and until it happens to you, it's just words,
And right, and we are seeing it. We're seeing it by your heavenly presence. So it's always a nice time when 3 of us get together. So salutations and much love to both of you, and congratulations on all of your accomplishments since the last time we've sat in console.
Same. Appreciate that.
I was very lucky to have Vivian ask me to come aboard to speak, because I'm at the end of the program that I agreed to begin. In 2016, when my son and I saw the light ship that took off above our car, which we then spent many months in private mantra meditation, looking to a specific region of the Orion Nebula, Orion's belt in the constellation Hercules. Funny to find out after I had taken 5 years of astrophysics at university that Taurus is directly behind that belt. So it's no wonder that the very deep signaling that my son and I sent to that region psychically was finally received. It took many months for that energy to reach the Taurus constellation, the Taurus Cloud. And because of the success of the method that we use to contact species, we've been treated to a beautiful life of fabulous, unforeseen gifts, and about the evolution of the human heart. William wasn't receiving the type of response I was receiving because of his physiology, his younger genetics, and the construction and evolutionary process of his cerebral cortex and his brain, and his chemical emotions, which all humans have to endure. I, on the other hand, being older, was becoming a direct recipient of knowledge as it was spoken to me directly. So when they did come down, and then KYMJYM took me to his ship after I met with him at the beach, the many successes of hang on just 2 seconds, I have to fix something. There we are. The many successes of my behavior allowed them to finally become 100% comfortable with me. You see, people from other worlds who are getting involved with the people of Earth do so altruistically, as you don't have to have an exchange. The loving entities and the loving people and the loving species, like the Arcturans, like the Mazzini, like the Pleiadians, these loving species require nothing of us, because we understand the exchange of deep, deep, powerful energy of love comes by merely being in presence. No words are really necessary. So it's a lot like the way I feel when I'm in presence with Vivian and Peter when they come over for dinner. We don't really need to talk, do we, Vivian?
That's right, David. It's just to be in our presence. The exchange really speaks
Have you ever
beyond.
telepathed with anybody, David?
Quite a bit.
I mean, an actual exchange telepath.
Yes, quite a bit.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Now we
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I have telepathy. I have telepathy channels that were created when both KYMJYM put his hand on the back of my head and released me from the emotional depression of being put in a crib when I was born, and then everything else that happened to me, because children aren't supposed to be raised in cages. Children are supposed to be with special mothers in a creche playing with baby animals and crystals and artwork supplies, just like their children do on their planet. So I believe that all human beings have a beautiful sovereignty, and that 99% of all humans on this planet are perfect sovereign souls who are full of love. I ignore the 1% of the evil that thinks it's in charge, that controls the media, because anybody within your community, my community, or any community can just turn on any media and it looks like the whole world has gone to hell in a handbasket, when in reality we live in the most beautiful place in the galaxy. So they're trying to keep us all brainwashed that things are bad, but in reality they are not bad at all. And so the power of all of humanity and all of the animals on this planet, when we connect to each other psychically, can overthrow this powerful evil regime just by merely thinking about it. We just need to have the same thought at the same time, and it will happen. It will manifest like magic. You'll just see them all disappear, and it will be sad, but it's what's necessary. When sky people work with me, they always are very considerate, and so they'll ask about my abilities and how they've affected me. see, since I was originally contacted and KYMJYM removed the emotional pain that I used to feel, that changed me profoundly, because I no longer had systems in place that were causing me any form of restriction on spiritual growth. The communication I now have are with living humans. Lowell Johnson, who I've done 2 years worth of work with. Lowell Johnson, a very strong occasional psychic uplink. It's occasional. This isn't something that you want permanently, because other people's thoughts get in your mind and then it clouds your own mission. But when I think about Lowell, he picks up the phone and calls me. When he thinks about me, I pick up the phone and call him. And it happens every time. That's an example. And then there's who's a direct, exclusively. Nathan and I have a psychic uplink, so whenever he thinks about me, I think about him. And we're well beyond the point of calling each other up to make sure that he was thinking of me or I was thinking of him, because he'll actually send me thoughts. We're at a point now when I know if he's feeling bad or if something happened to him, that I can call him and offer him some support. And I'm always 100% right. Dolores Cannon has reached out to me about 3 months ago. Dear Dolores. And she's met a lot of the species that are helpful. She never had contact experience, and she is now. She said hi to everybody and that everything is beautiful. But she also said that she feels very bad that there's people that are using her image on the internet and then using a robot voice to talk about their own message. And so she said to tell everybody, if it's not coming from my videos, don't listen to it.
Yeah, I can see that, David. I really can see why some, Hall of Horror have been really, really used, and some of them has been distorted. And I think that comes with the discernment. So, when you talk about telepathic communications, it's something very natural for, like someone like Kimji, a beautiful being like Kimji. So what would you recommend for all of us here on the planet to develop more, to be more in tune with these natural faculties?
Just to mention, Dolores passed a little while ago, some months ago. I think it was a year ago.
Oh, more than that, I think.
Yeah, 3 years ago, 4 years.
Yeah.
But for time is different for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
She's a angelic spirit in existence. And I think before we answer your question, I think I just want to say this last thing is that Jeff wanted some proof about psychic communication. And so not only are we actively pursuing talking to each other with our minds, we realize that there's going to be some astrological and astronomical events in the Earth's near future where there may be some problems with communicating electronically.
Mm-hmm.
And about a year and a half ago, I sent out an email to all the ambassadors. Vivian received one. I think I even sent one to Rob. I know Lowell got it, and many of the people that we know, which, Becca B., that we need to start concentrating on using our psychic abilities so that we can actually communicate with each other when the system goes down. Because the grid's going to fail, the computers and phones and everything. We're going to have what's known as a Carrington event, and it's an X-class flare that's Earth-facing, and it's going to fry all the computers and phones and phone masts. And there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yes, now once you do the telepath communication, you're able to do that with anybody. All you need to do is do it one time, get that dialogue going, and I think you're open to anybody else that wants to telepath with you.
I believe that's very true because I know you and I have had a couple of telepathic messages. I remember
Mhm.
when you were in the hospital, I sent you some emails, and rather than you emailing me, I know you responded in thought.
Yeah, I mean, that was it was a crazy time, but it was an enlightening time.
Yes, it was. While you were going through those changes, I think many of us were with you, but many of us were also feeling great changes. It was like you had a physical response to other things that people had an emotional response to.
Mhm.
And some of us had a spiritual awakening response to. So at the time when you were absent, all of us were going through something very big. And I remember Vivian was thinking of me. And so I would call her up and she'd laugh and say, "Oh, David, you're so funny." And then I'd be like, "Vivian, there's something going on," and yada, yada, yada. And then we'd
Mhm.
be able to discuss this. So I have that very powerful psychic link with Vivian too. I do concentrate on making sure that my friends hear me. And I'm also very careful about letting others in. And I wanted you to know that when we open our mind up as much as we are broadcasting, then as an ambassador species from other worlds, I have to be very careful. There are beings, and I know you know about them, Jeff. They're like techno beings, and they don't mean to
I
hurt
have a list.
anybody. Oh,
I've
okay.
been keeping a running list, believe it or not. That's why I'm intrigued with Kim Jim.
Right. Okay. So these techno beings actually don't mean any harm. And it's like you said, and it's like we all know, they get very excited when they realize that you can hear them. They
Hmm.
get even more excited when you can speak to them. And then it's really gone crazy when they show up. So, and it's fun, but techno beings will flood your head with a whole bunch of science you don't need, with a whole bunch of other dimensional
Hmm.
information that you
Yeah,
don't
Big
need.
Umo did the same thing.
Okay. So it's like we have to work at creating an agreement spiritually.
Yeah,
So,
slow it down, man. I can't
right,
absorb all this at once.
right. We have to create an agreement
Mhm.
as contact begins and as you develop your contact. There must be a contract that says at any time that I can turn all of you off and this will be the end of our experience together. I'd prefer that not to be the case, but if you get to be too much for me, you must listen to me, and I will shut you out. And you will hear back psychically. You will hear a voice in your head that says, "Thank you, we appreciate that," because as you develop your own psychic prowess, it becomes very important and almost imperative that you realize that thoughts are things, and you must be very careful about what you think about, because not only can you change the emotional nature of those around you, you can cause harm without knowing it. So you have to be very careful about your thoughts. Always be supportive and loving. Always project compassion and kindness, your higher aspects as a species. Vivian, has that helped to answer the question?
Beautifully, David. Thank you so much.
Now, at some point in our conversation, Kim Jim has agreed to speak to you, and he is going to let me know when he is in presence. Usually what happens is he'll come down, he'll stand right next to me, and then he said he's going to step in. So I don't know what that's going to be like, but I have such a high comfort zone with his species of blue from Taurus
See, I knew this was going to happen.
that I feel like he's my brother and my sister and my lover and my mother and my father and all the best things, all the best nurturing love. I feel like he's part of me genetically, and that there must be some other exchange that's occurred between he and I that I have not been allowed to remember yet, because we are given these beautiful pieces of information. Sometimes there's many hundreds of messages in one piece of information. Sometimes there's two or three. And depending upon how our brain is set up, those messages unfold. They unfold quickly or slowly, depending upon the reality of your heart and how you were feeling at the time when you're receiving these messages. Because your own understanding of your deepest human feelings will have a direct effect on your ability to receive those positive signals and messages. So they know that about us. They also realize that we're at a very difficult stage in our evolutionary process. And so they're trying to consider that. And it's very difficult for many of us who are in a process that we're unsure about at the same time. My personal advice to people who are waking up to the truth of this universe, which is about benevolent love, benevolent compassion, benevolent healing, and being that way 100% of the time of your existence here on Gaia. So I was given the word Gaian as human. And KYMJYM asked me to start referring to other humans as Gaians because that's how they're sort of calling us right now. Is that we are the species of Gaia, even though there's been a lot of intervention from them over the past, we are still Gaians because we started out on this planet and that we were intervened. There's been reseeding. There's been genetic modifications over many thousands of millennia. This isn't a segue into Akashic recordism. This is not into talking about genetic memory. This is just a statement, is that we are Gaians, first and foremost, in this reality. Because many of us have the desire to move forward into a higher reality. But there's really no point because the whole experience of life on Earth is 100% a gift. This is their gift to us. So to understand the correct communication with our Great Mother, we have to realize that every day is a precious gift. And so every day we're given the option on how to behave, how to think, and how to just exist and enjoy life.
Yeah, because the name Earth was, I mean, the ETs, they have no idea what the hell Earth is. It is a name that we gave to ourselves.
But the name Gaia is the true spirit name of our Great Mother.
That's correct.
And so they are knowing us as Gaians. So he said, David, you're a Gaian. That's why I'm a blue from Taurus. It says that's why there's Arcturans and Pleiadians and Gaians.
Mm-hmm. Exactly true.
You will be a species who will be known for compassion.
Yeah, not Earthers.
No.
What about terra? The word terra.
Jeff?
Well, the word terra is, again, another given name from us that we created so that we could, because we're terra-formed. Okay, right. So that's short for that.
That's correct.
I don't completely agree with you guys, but that's okay.
Okay, well, Dave, wait. Now, I got another technical question for you.
Sure.
Okay, it's this telepathy. Okay, and now with remote viewing, okay, I'm able to do that on certain times, and I'm pretty accurate. Now, could you say like remote view to some place to establish a communication link and then learn telepathy from that invitation?
You have to be very careful about that connection. And Vivian, I'm glad you didn't agree with us 100% because you're right. There's a form of terra, which is also an ancient word for the earth. And it's also a really cute girl's name. So, you go girl. We'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, so I've done remote viewing twice. And it was only after KYMJYM taught me how to do it. He showed me. Both times I did remote viewing were very, not spooky, but otherworldly. And I felt that it was a very difficult journey to get to the place where I was supposed to go to view. And so it's something I choose not to practice. Now,
because when you remote view, you could also tap into the feeling of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, versus telepathy, where it's just information back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right. When you remote view, it's not like a soul contract, but what happens is you invite the energy of the area that you go to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, I think that's why I was so uncomfortable, is because I wasn't comfortable on both occurrences of remote viewing. So I choose not to use those techniques. And I know that remote viewing is a very powerful form of teleportation.
Yes, further confidence. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not my forte. It gives me weird feelings, so I choose not to practice that.
Okay, so what about those who are taking classes and take training to remote view then? That's I always tell people, even my clients who talk about it, to use high mindfulness because you're being seen as much as you want to see.
Well, they teach those people not to. You have to put up like walls in order to do this, so that you don't get sucked into what is actually going on. You know, put up like a barrier around you.
Just for a second, because there's an ambulance calling by. Just take 2 seconds.
Yeah, you have to repeat, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a they actually teach the remote viewer to put up a barrier before you initiate any type of viewing, because you will get that energy back to you. So you try to block that as much as you can by just looking at what is going on. But sometimes, I mean, I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I just want to get in more and more and more, and then you open yourself up to these unusual feelings that is like, what the hell? I got to get out of here.
Okay, so I got a message from KYMJYM that he's standing by. He said that if you're both going to start asking a lot of technical questions, then we may as well start, because he has some information for both of you. This wasn't meant to be one-sided. I know that Vivian's prepared some questions for KYMJYM. It doesn't matter how many there are. It's going to come straight out of my mouth. I don't know what's going to be said. Same thing for you, Jeff. If you have a highly technical question that needs an answer from someone from Taurus, now's your opportunity. Now, I'm not going to let KYMJYM in just now, because there's a couple of things that I wanted to cover. And it's going to take maybe 5 or 10 minutes, because you might have a question or two. Are you guys... Sorry, loud motorcycle. Are you guys comfortable with that if we just go into the photos I sent Jeff?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock, man. Let's go.
Okay, Jeff, let's go ahead and put up the picture of my cranium.
Okay. Share screen. Let's go to this guy here. It's loading up. Here it is. Okay, so...
Great. In my... Can I talk while this is going on?
Yeah.
Of course.
In my... I do so much talking. It's like I've come to this point now where it's like... I'm sharing this with you because the last time the three of us spoke, one of the things that is a poignant, remarkable part of my experience of arrival on the terra-formed Kali planet was that Weimer, my deck guide, who put me in my special chair, is a very tall yellow man. Weimer was holding my hand, and when he took me out of the chair, because I had vertigo. There we go. So that lateral gash is actually a healed, crushed cranium. And this is the superior view taken of my cranium by the radiologist when I was returned. You see, I had a big gap on my cranium. And so it wasn't revealed to me through the information package that, thank you, through the information package that what had happened was I had fallen off the ramp. In my zeal to see this beautiful white citadel that all these giant ships were landing at, I yanked away from Weimer's hand on this massive 100-foot long landing ramp. And there was all kinds of species holding hands in disembarkation. And I went right off the side of the ramp, and I fell almost 100 feet, landed right on my elbow and right on my head. And it punched a piece of cranium down into my brain. This is where I was whisked off to the Joe doctor. He put a device on my forehead called a curla, which is an oblong hollow gold box with many hundreds of tiny little engravings on the sides of it that were embedded with a different colored gemstone. And the little symbols looked like Sanskrit. The front of the curla device, which went right over my forehead and covered the top of the bridge of my nose and rose above my head some inches, had a starburst on the front. And when you push the button, it activates, and all these lights flash. There's thousands of flashing colored lights is what you see. And after 15 or 20 minutes, he had regrown my brain material, and the piece of bone went back into place. And he had transferred all the memories that were stored by my left hemisphere, turned them around, turned them upside down, and restacked them in the right hemisphere, which was damaged. So when I had the radiologist take this picture, he said, "Oh, that's the most elegant suture I've ever seen in my life." He says, "You show no cerebral scarring, and there's no bone scarring. When did you have brain surgery?" And so this is what I talked about the last time we were on together, and I was petitioning the hospital for this photograph. So when I told him finally, because he really pushed me to give him the answer of where this happened. Well, when I told him what happened, he used very bad, colorful language, and he deleted the pictures from the screen and said, "Get the F out of here." And so it took me 4 years since having that MRI scan done to get the picture. So that's a completely healed
We're not
cranial.
able to hear you, David.
Oh, can you hear me?
The sound just cut off automatically.
How about now?
Now it's back. Thank you.
You bet. So that's a completely healed severe cranial fracture. That's what's known as a bone-crushing, life-altering fracture.
Wow.
And so it was healed within moments by this little man on Broccoli. And so this was part of my experience. And so I was taken away to another place to keep an eye on me for a day or two to make sure that I came back to normal. And I was put into a quad where there was picnic benches and a little room for me to sleep in. And there was other people just like me who were there for various reasons. Some of them were there to live for the rest of their lives because they asked to stay. So anyways, let's go to one of the other pictures there, Jeff. So there it is, you guys. I promised there would be a picture someday, and there it is. So that's from the brain surgery I received. And that's because I fell off the stupid landing ramp, the disembarkation ramp. What an idiot.
Happens to everybody, believe it or not. Which one?
Anyone, as long as the JPEG matches the image.
Okay.
All right, so this is EROM. That's capital Y dash capital RAM. Oh, that's lovely. Can you make that image any larger, or is that good?
Well, I can make yours larger, but I also worked it a little bit.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's great.
Wow.
All right, so this is EROM, and you can see how tiny her jaw is and how large the top of her head is.
Yeah.
And she has a very, very narrow, long nose with two little nostrils. And she has very large eyes, and you can see how large her eyes are. They take up almost both halves of her face.
Hang on one second. Let me get another one. I don't want to take away from your picture.
No, it's all good. You do what you have to. So EROM came to me in October of 23. And she was used to deliver a message. And it's interesting because EROM, that's a great picture of EROM. She's actually
too.
Yeah, they're very tiny. She has very tiny lips. You can see how long her nose is. But look how big her eyes are.
Yeah,
Now,
I can see the whites here
uh-huh.
in the around this. Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's lovely. Now, this is her avatar. This is a living biological entity that she enters to exist on Earth. Her species doesn't like Earth, the gamma radiation and the oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide mix. She was on the ship when KYMJYM picked me up, and he gave me to EROM. She took my hand and walked me across the deck. She's the one that told me not to look at the controllers because they weren't fond of us. And then she introduced me to Weimer, who was the 9-foot tall being who was to be with me for my entire journey and to make sure that I was happy. Because the whole thing about this trip was that I was supposed to remember every moment. That's what KYMJYM promised me. So EROM was selected to come down and speak to me. And she delivered some very interesting information about our future. Now, there's JPEG evidence, which I've provided to both Jeff and Vivian, so that you, whether they want to put up or not, I don't care, because I've never really cared if anyone believed me or not. There's no caveat. But there's JPEGs that are underneath these photos to show you that it's not a screenshot or taken from some sort of CGI or anything. They don't like bright lights. The people from Taurus don't like bright lights. And anything above a 10-watt bulb actually hurts their eyes because they take their eye shields off when they sit to talk to you. Mm-hmm. It's like
the
okay.
Ponte the same way. The Ponte's got the extra lens and stuff.
Oh, bingo. Okay, so if I sit here like this and talk to you guys, are you going to feel like I really give a shit? No.
You look like a cop.
Yeah, I used to be in the sheriff's department. So, so she sat down and talked to me. First, she talked to me about myself. And so I'll tell you what she told me. She said that if I was to continue with the benefit of the exchange of people from Taurus, that I would have to change what I'm doing. And so by this time, 2023, I had been speaking to some hundreds to thousands of people about my contact experience, because part of my role as an ambassador was to share my experience. Come hell or high water, it didn't matter if people believed me. The idea was to get them out there thinking about it. That's the most important thing. She said something really interesting. When humans seek the truth, whatever the truth is, thank you. When humans seek the truth, whatever the truth is, it isn't finding the truth that makes your life whole. It's the act of seeking where the joy comes from. And as soon as a human being starts seeking joy through acknowledgement, camaraderie, understanding on a higher level, healing, as soon as you start seeking those things, then that is the reality, because that's when you realize that thoughts are truly things. So the joy is felt through the quest of knowledge, not necessarily in receiving the knowledge, but in the search for it. So she said, this is where I want you to be very careful, David. You've spent some time now saying your story over and over and over again, but this is going to be what? This is going to be something that you have to move forward from. You have a new project, and I'd like you to sit down and receive this engram. So she leaned forward. That's why I've got several pictures. I only shared 2 of them. She leaned forward and released this purple-blue fog out of her forehead. And it just flowed right over me, right around me, right into me. And it was a message. It was a light package. It was a purple light package. Mm-hmm. And it unfolded in a period of about 2-3 months. So remember, this is October 23. So
we call them downloads
in March this year. Right. Yeah. Well, maybe my version of downloads also comes in the form of CLPF and CLPT in the form of a bright white package that holds thousands of pieces of info. But this was more like a direction that she gave me. It was a gift. And she said, what we'd like you to do now is take your diplomatic understanding of how our species work with humans, how we feel about you and your evolutionary process. And we'd like to take these gifts that we've given you, because we've spoken to your mind and your mind has listened. Now we would like you to take these gifts and move them forward to help change the world, not just change people's minds. The process of ascension for all human beings isn't to stand on a stage for 5 years saying the same story over and over again. The experience that you're having justice, with love, with new beginnings for all species on your planet. And so we'd like you to move to the next arena of thought.
I got one more picture.
Like, oh, cool.
Not to cut you off, but I want to get this done so you can, because it leads into that. Here we go.
Was there any codes on their skin or something, or it's just a pixelation on the picture?
No, there are codes. Some of them look like light codes or printed material.
Yeah.
On one of the instances of talking to both her and to talking at another time, when there was these two that came in, they kind of froze me on my sofa. We've all seen. There's a movie, sci-fi movie, and there's a character in it called Rorschach, and he has this fabric face under his fedora, and he has these Rorschach prints, psychology examples, flashing across this mask. Well, this one entity had these ripples that were very similar, and he'd have these different shadows and lights that would ripple across his face. Now, oddly enough, L from Andromeda had like a fake pharaoh's beard that was very wide, and when he spoke without moving his mouth, you would see it was like sand, and you would see images coming up and going back into his fake beard. It was like made out of sand, and you would see pictures of the future and pictures of the past, and you could watch his chin and his jaw like a movie that was sculptural, that was moving. It was like a small bas relief that was moving. And so there was a lot of vibration and a lot of imagery that came from L. And so there is this very curious, images of lights, images of lettering, and images of pictures that flash across their face that you can see. How did you know about that, Jeff?
Because I'm smart. No, actually, because the Ponti or Mazzini, they're the ones that actually showed me a lot of this stuff, images and stuff.
It's
because
wonderful.
They don't really talk, because they don't have that lung capacity like we do, so they flash images, and I got to figure out what the hell they're trying to tell me, and I get pretty good after a while,
Right. So, in conclusion to what her message was to me, was that I had to stop going on to interviews on the internet. She said, you were given the gift to be able to describe your story very truthfully. We have allowed you to take photographs both on board of different constellations while flying through space and of us, and to share them with the humans that wanted to look. We realized that that's a part of the analysis process of positive growth, because humans are 5 auditory: eyes, smelling, hearing, tasting, and physical touch. She said that humans need to have a confirmation in the form of photographic evidence, physical evidence, evidence of the proof of the change to your life, evidence to the proof of the change of other people's lives through the good works that you commence. Now is the time to no longer go onto a stage, no longer go to events, no longer do any more videos with anybody. And we'd like you to speak to Vivian and to go on to Infinite Star Connections and say goodbye to everybody for at least a year or two. because there's something very important that KYMJYM is going to share on her show about you. And then KYMJYM is also going to share something for Vivian.
Wonderful.
And
See, now I have to get permission from the UMO to talk about their stuff because they don't want their information just like, bleh,
okay, that's very important because I was given a lot of technological secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the time when they share things like that with the beginning of our friendship with them, it's a kind of test because they're always, once we let them in, they're in all the time, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like they test us to make sure. It's like they'll have meetings about people they work with. And
I mean, there's only 8 of us that they really talk to, and most of them are over in Europe, so I'm very fortunate that they contacted me to do their book for them.
Isn't that wonderful? There are a lot of very positive things coming from Europe right now regarding contact. There's been huge amounts of contact and the exchange of love between people in France, people in Germany, people in England. And oh my goodness, Europe has just been a hotbed of new awakenings and understandings of love and compassion. And the truth of what our role is as a species on Gaia. So Europe is undergoing a spiritual renaissance. So everybody on this side of the pond must now send loving compassion and loving support to all of our friends in Europe, in every country. Send them love, send them support, just as you would do for your kid who's going to school in another state. Just really just send that very powerful psychic love and let it go. Yeah, so Europe is having a very happy time, despite what the 1% is trying to show you what Europe is. Actually, there's some beautiful daily life moments that are life-changing for the people who are experiencing them. So the message was to conclude what I was doing outwardly because I had done such a good job of explaining what had happened to me. There was no point anymore to continue to talk about what happened to me. So she said to go on to your show and to give both of you salutations and then to let you know that everything will be fine, but that there's something that KYMJYM's got to say. So I guess he's going to step in right now, if that's cool with you guys.
Yep. Hit me.
I'm just going to take let me just take a glass of water, sip of water. This is very funny. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
My name is KYMJYM, and I know that you know me through David, so I just want to spend some time talking about some things with you. It's lovely to be here. Greetings to the Mazzini and, of course, Arcturus. Arcturans, we love you, and we're working very closely together with Taurus. And thank you, Jeff, for your realization about our sense of humor. Our sense of humor is very important to us.
Thank you.
Vivian, David has a new job, and we're going to talk about what he's got to do and why we're pulling him from your ability to see what's going on with him. We gave him permission to share a lot of special things. And we gave him lots of photographs, and we gave him lots of contacts, and we brought you and him and everyone else together so that you can all share in the same idea of awakening. What the awakening for your species means for yourselves, of course, is much more important for yourselves than it is for us. Did you agree?
Yes, she does.
Waking up for you is more important than it is for us. We've opened some doors for David in Washington. So David is going to start working for the Air Force and for the Space Force and for the U.S. government in a capacity that has nothing to do with technology, has nothing to do with warfare. We've asked him to produce a document and a dossier for both these departments, the Space Force, through a program which we have identified as EDI, Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative. Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative. This does not mean you defending yourself against an extraterrestrial. This is when something goes wrong. This is your diplomatic ability to come to rescue the extraterrestrial, to not lock them up, to help them get home, to identify their sovereign rights as a soul. He's producing a dossier right now that is being assisted by several Congress people. It's a very diplomatic piece of paperwork. He will be going before a very important commander in the Air Force at a very important base in about 6 months. But we open these doorways for David because we believe David is going to show Americans and show people of your country and the rest of the world what's going to happen that will help everybody. David's program will be explained to everybody. They will circle this document amongst themselves. The first gift that we gave David when we first met him was the universal body language, the universal language of hand symbolism, hand sign, and then thoughts are things. So when we give you this language, this means that when we show up, you know how to stand. You know what to say when you're standing, and you know what to do with your hands. Because we're very concerned that many of you are not the type of people that we want to be with physically because you're very dangerous. We've shown David what to say. And this is very important. So he's going to produce a document because it has been foreseen that the Space Force will continue to be run by Mark Milley. Now, Mark Milley got in trouble 10 years ago because he was addressing an Air Force Academy and Navy Academy and Army Cadet and Marine Cadet. And he mentioned hybrid armies and little green men and got in big trouble with your own association and your own faculties. But now he's been reintroduced to Space Force. This has caused some concern. Elon Musk is going to retire from SpaceX, and many programs that SpaceX is doing right now is going to be the information grid that is being used by the U.S. government. U.S. government in the next 5 to 10 years will be removing all of its securities exchange from the Israel government. All of this is coming home to America, and this is all for good reason. We have foreseen an incident between Space Force and somebody is going to take a shot at one of our ships. This is going to be a big mistake. David's program is for the Air Force. The Air Force, which is sovereign. The Navy is sovereign than the Army and the Marines in your militaristic campaign programming. The way you operate as a species, they take their instructions from one person called the president. We understand these systems. Everybody had these systems. These systems were no different than us for 20 million years ago. Everybody had these systems. We know that you have these systems in your evolution. But what's going to happen is that Space Force is going to make a big mistake. Because your Air Force is sovereign, they will be called forward to fix this error. They will be called forward to fix this mistake. They are sovereign. So David is putting a diplomatic friendship package together for us. And when this is done, the Air Force will take these documents and they will put them in a filing cabinet and they will forget about them. We have engraved, we have reimagined, we have shown many top officers, many special military people have been given a gift which will reawaken. So when this accident happens, they'll find the file. Because there will not be retribution, there will not be any problem, there will not be any war. It'll be just you, just us. We're not going to fight you. You know how we're going to damage you? If you attack us for everything that we've done for you, we're just going to go away forever. And then let you sort your own problems out. It has been agreed. This is the only way. We're not interested in landing. We're not interested in your people. We're not going to come down and meet your world leaders. That's all not going to happen. We have asked you for hundreds of years, shepherd your own heart. Listen to your own inner voice. Be kind. Be loving. It's all up to you, not us. It's all over. The ascension process has come and gone. We have reawakened over 16 million ambassadors on your planet in the last 100 years. 16 million. All of you need to be traveling around with this message. All of you need to be sharing love. All of you need to be sharing compassion. All of you need to show your world leaders. Time to change is now. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. David's shown you. David told you. Now David's gone. We support Vivian. We support Jeff. There's a few others we support. There's a few others who have passed away who come and visit us, and we see them, and they live in a spirit realm that you don't understand. I'm not going to bother trying to tell you about it. We want you to concern yourself with what you're doing. Your feet are on. It doesn't do your planet. It doesn't do anything for anybody if you don't live on your planet. There's two things that we have to mention before I go away. One of them is you're not going to Mars. None of you. None of your ships. None of your people. It has been decided. We don't care how much money and power you think your species has. You're not going. We won't let your ships go 1 Earth's distance past the moon before we will veer them off course. Your people will have cardiovascular failure. You are not going. And why? Because you haven't listened to the message. Look what you've done to the atmosphere of your planet. Right now, we need to get into NASA to get them to shoot the space station towards the sun. It's carrying a ton of radioactive materials that will burn up in your atmosphere if you sink that down over the coast of Chile. What are you doing? You've surrounded your planet with garbage, radioactive waste. This is your message to us? What are you doing? It just befuddles us. We get upset. We have emotions. We have a sense of humor, but we can't laugh. We feel so bad for you. Everybody goes through this process. You need to start changing now. Stop talking about it on a stage. This isn't about us. It's not about the ships. It's about the message. It's about, we came down to wake you up. We give you the message because your species always falls asleep. Now you're awake. Vivian, before I answer any of your questions, I have something to give you. I'd like you to think about what David is saying, what I just said. You have awakened a very large portion of your species, and you have given them the truth, you have given them clarity, and you have given them the ability to think for themselves. And you've done it the right way, Vivian. You don't need to worry about telling people who Arcturans are. If they can't figure it out, that's their problem. Does that make sense to you?
Of course, dear friend. Thank you.
Okay. Because you are very dear to us. Your species, very dear to us. And you know, some of us can't even see you, but we always feel your presence. Jeff,
Yes,
you
sir.
are testament to living miracle, and there's such many miracles coming from you now. There's something very special that you're about to release, and you don't have to talk about it. I don't think you even mentioned this to Vivian, but we're really behind you on this. So we know that you're about to release something really big, and we're very proud of you. We're proud of all human beings who tell the truth. We're proud of all human beings who take care of the planet and love all the animals. We're so proud. But for all of you who have done nothing, for all of you who tell stories and exchange these lies about what's going on with your planet, what's going on with our planet, all these lies, they're going to catch up on you. They do it to everybody. Everybody goes through this process. You're not special. You think you're alone, but you are special because we love you, and you have the capacity to love yourselves. But it has to be all the time, not part-time. All the time. You must train your minds. Vivian, I understand that you may have a question or two or some more. Is there anything that you want to know? And also for Jeff, if you have a technical question, David's going to answer. If you have a
Thank you. Thank you. Can you still hear us?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Good.
Thank you so much. Your presence honor all of us. And yes, we are, both our civilizations are dear friends for a very long time. The respect, the love, and the partnership has been there for thousands of years. And being on the planet as an Arcturian is very much a big endeavor for all humanity and Gaia herself. We talk about the evolution of the consciousness and the evolution of the human heart. What can you tell us about this to help humans better understand themselves?
The human heart doesn't have much further to go. The mystery that you feel in the exchange of pity, the sadness that you feel in the exchange of woe, the mystery that you don't see is almost over. You have but one or two tiny things that you must accomplish for your heart to rule the universe. Because you are the Gaians, and you will be known in the future as the Gaians, those of Earth who love themselves, that love the planet. Your heart will grow into a manifestation of eternal living, of eternal light. This is where the human heart is going, but it must be connected to your mind at the same time. Your heart has a very special rhythm that is an energy rhythm made from light. That light connects and pulsates back and forth between your mind. When you connect that energy of your heart to the energy of your mind, there is nothing you cannot accomplish.
And so it is. Jeff?
Can we alter the timeline that we're on right now to make sure that we can all ascend and do it all correctly?
Yes. Your
Can you explain?
timeline has not been written. It is forbidden to go back into the past, even those that can do this, and there aren't very many. The beings that you call mantid beings, the ones that look like a praying mantis, they're very, very gentle, very, very sweet. They're very large, they're very kind, and they're very understanding.
I have one.
They understand. They understand the construction of a black hole. We use a lot of artificial black holes in our travels from universe to galaxy, galaxy to planet. They arrest our velocity. The mantids build them for us and place them according to our needs on terra-formed planets. They can be built at any size for any distance, and they will arrest the velocity of folding time and space. Folding time and space is from Andromeda. These are the oldest, some of the oldest species is Andromedaean. If you ever meet one, you are very, very fortunate because there are not very many of them left. They can fold time, they can fold space. They do this by connecting 2 points in a given area with the thought of their mind. This is a species that has been around for 3 billion years. They have the ability to connect the energy of their heart to the energy of their mind, and then they see the outcome. As soon as they see the outcome, then it occurs. They fold time and space like you're folding your hands.
Mm-hmm.
For you, There's nothing to fear about the future. There will be no new only that you should follow. You understand that you travel through time to be where you're at now. You're here now because you already time traveler. Now you can't go back, but we turned the past into a gift for all of you. The past is a gift for all of you. You don't have to have anything wrong in your life. Look what is in your hands. Open your hands. Use the hands of your mind and release. Let go. And then everything falls back into the past. It will never reoccur again because you have made the decision not to let certain things reoccur. So you travel time, and yes, we can see the future, but we're not allowed to manipulate it. Nobody is. That is against universal law. And though it is agreed that some species will live for eternity, and the longer you live, the more wonderful you become, because it's just getting past that point of your simple physical evolution, which will then turn you and convert you into light beings. Make no mistake, Jeff, all of you are made from light, from particles of light. And you interact with the messages of the universe because those messages are made from light. When there's a message being sent, it is not always meant for you, Jeff. Sometimes it is meant for a fish. Sometimes it is meant for a tree. These messages are being sent from Gaia and also from the universe as a permanent exchange of love, light, living in the moment, the true love, the true light, not the one that is being narrated by some specialists. So you're living in this moment. You are made from light, Jeff. And once you really understand this, then guess what, my friend? You become light yourself. And you join us. All of you do. And this is the future of the Gaian. Your heart path is clear. We will always watch after our children. But, like I've said, you're not special, but you are. The past must be given a future. All of the animals on your planet, all of the things in your existence belong to all of us, not your species. So we will always come back to Gaia. We will always come back to Gaia. You know, we drink water too. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I have one more question. Technical question, if you're up to it.
Oh, yes.
The CERN project we have here on Earth, does that alter timelines in a negative way?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't alter timeline at all. And actually, what it does is it creates a void. The particle accelerator has not come to any conclusive result. You see, right now, Earth scientists are trying to use supersymmetry as an excuse. There are no supersymmetric particles that can exist within your realm. Your sciences are based on Earth sciences. This is where the word terra comes from. Your Terran science is because you have a sun that your planet has a dipole electromagnetic relationship with, but you will always succumb to the gravitational forces of the local group until your planet moves further away from the center of the galaxy and starts traveling towards other galaxies. You will only understand Terran physics. Once you go into deep stellar space, physics and what you understand in quantum mechanics is completely different.
Right. The UMO talk about that.
Yes, they will, because they're very, very smart. And you are also very smart. And so when you ask these questions, listen, I know I've told David you are a force to be reckoned with, and he can't wait to sit down with you and consult. David wants consult with you, which is really important because you're so technical smart. So I'm trying to say, that there is nothing that cannot be achieved in the sense of science. But the super collider, the CERN project, this is not going anywhere. This is being used as a physics excuse to remove money that you call tax dollars. And this is a form of revenue that can be used to change the nature of your behavior across the planet. You see, the money, we can tell you right now that it's over $30 trillion been spent on this type of science in the last 80 years, but has done nothing. In fact, to date, the scientists have still not identified one supersymmetrical particle. But now they're saying it'll be the next generation of super colliders that will reveal this particle. But there is no point. There's no point to compartmentalize science. Okay, Jeff, you understand this. I'll say something to you, and this will understand my sense of humor. I'm going to tell you right now. I want you to listen carefully. Get ready. When Einstein, one of our best friends, came together with the theory of relativity, all Einstein God, it wasn't about physics. He understood that physics changed as soon as you get out of Earth. Everything you know is based on your planet. It has nothing to do with the rest of reality of the universe. But you're so egocentric, that's all you think about is yourselves. The problem with science on your planet, and I want everybody to think about this, the grand unified theory is matter, energy, space, of time like gravity, and reality is made of 4 components that work in unison from the very beginning. There was no such thing as light being first, or sound being first, or time being first, or gravity being first. Light, time, gravity, and sound all show up at the same time. Everything exists because of these 4 main constructs of reality. Our reality is no different. Physical beings still have time like gravity and sound, unless you're a ethereal being. We're not a ethereal being. I don't exist in 5th dimension. I exist a hyperdimension of the 4th reality above yours. I still breathe. I still have to have nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
But just wait 2 million years. You'll know what I'm talking about. So time like gravity and sound are the 4th theorem. This was explained to David that matter, energy, and space, this is not the grand unified theory, but they convince all you humans that's what it is. And you give all your billions of dollars to this phony science. This is the phony science. Time like gravity and sound. If you want to travel and fold space, you must understand the connectivity between these 4 main aspects of reality in which all of us exist. You can't go to the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th dimension without time like gravity and sound, because they must exist within this framework. It is the cohesive particle that binds time like gravity and sound into the unison of existence. You understand that particle, you can be folding space. And the only people we know that can do that are the Andromedeans. We borrow our technology from species who have made it past the point of destroying themselves. David already said this. Stop turning your animals into handbag. What is wrong with your people? Only some of you are going to make it forward, I guarantee that. If you don't understand your heart, you can't follow your heart. You are slated to perish. We've given you every opportunity to prove who you are. So do yourselves a favor. Listen to your own heart. Don't listen to me. I love you very much, Jeff. And what you are about to release, what you have for humanity, will touch the hearts of man. And you understand because of the UMO.
That's amazing. How did you know that?
Because you are our children. We know everything. We love you. And Vivian, I have to leave because this is causing David breathing problems.
Oh.
And his heart rate is lowering. Vivian, we love you. we want you to understand that you don't have to explain anything anymore to anybody. That your children will come to you and you will speak to them. And they are your brothers and sisters. They are your lovers. They are your father and your mother. And this is your community. And as much as I would say goodbye, I would say to have David say hello because he knows where he's going. All of you have been given all the tools that you need. And we love you. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the near future. Goodbye, my friends.
See you soon. Take your time, David. This was a lot of energy for you. Just take your time.
And that is very typical of when being comes through you, because it just takes all of your energy and it just maxes everything out. Take your time, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, man.
What an experience. I love it. And how did they know what that guy? That just blows me away.
Yeah, I feel like that was okay. I feel like everything was okay. Did you guys talk? Because I don't fucking remember a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
You're back.
I remember nothing because you were like put aside, and then he was through you. Yeah, but that's typical of a mediumship deal that happens.
I'm all shaky. Like my back
Yeah.
and my neck feels like someone was holding on to it. My arms are all weak. I feel all shaky.
Yeah, welcome back to our world.
Yeah, take the time you need to do, maybe to drink something. And what I'm getting is maybe eat a little something your body needs to,
Or eat some. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
Tilcom says a lot. Eat, eat, eat.
a little
And
something.
yeah,
See, that's the difference with me is that I was constructed for the other way around. When I am in transmission, it nourishes me because it's the opposite for me, which is normal. Take your time, David. That was an incredible gift, and opportunity, a really amazing opportunity to be in the presence of KYMJYM. And it's very refreshing to finally have a direct representative of beautiful beyond earth sentient beings coming and says, okay, we're going to tell you the way it is. We still love you, but at the same time, you got to understand this. And it
I
really
can't.
is.
I can't wait to watch the program after you upload it or after I can watch it because I don't understand any of that. But
Yeah, you
I
will.
I know that I had some
it's
feelings.
still amazing. It's just still amazing to me.
I don't know what was said. I don't know why it was amazing, but you're the last person on earth I'd expect to hear that from, especially something that came out of my mouth. I just don't know what to say. It was good. I don't feel bad. I just feel exhausted.
Well,
Yeah.
then
And
it's actually pretty good to hear from an ET's point of view of what the hell
Jesus.
is going on. And
Uh,
now the UMO blah had the same message back in 1972
oh,
on a radio broadcast, and
wow.
so I mean it's almost exactly the same word for word, which I have a copy of, by the way. So, but
I
yeah,
would love it if you uh, called me or maybe emailed me a MP3 on that on my email address so I
oh,
can
of
listen.
course, yes,
That
yep.
would be very meaningful. Um, I feel really good. I feel like really happy. And I feel really like cleansed. I feel like
I really think that we're on the road to recovery within this next year or less.
I got a really good feeling about our future as a
Yeah.
species.
I think we've already made it, just that we just got these little stragglers we got to take care of. But for the most part, in general, it's over,
Yep. Oh, Vivian. I'm just seeing some weird stuff right now.
Like what?
Blue. I'm seeing all kinds of people. They're all blue.
Oh, that's her team. That's her team. Yeah.
They're all happy. It's like there's some awards festival. And so, why don't you tell me what KYMJYM said? He had something for you.
It's just I'm ready to release 3 documents, 2 from the Ponti. I mean, one from the Ponti and 2 from the UMO. It's very detailed on accounts, technology, and learning about understanding and accepting what is happening in front of you. So I just haven't published them yet. The Ponti, I just got to organize more chapters so it all flows together. But all that information is done.
This is something that's come up in conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean they're here all the time. I mean,
okay. I was asking, like, that's why you're telling me, right? Because this came up in conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, I was just telling some friends on Lowell Johnson's channel the other night that I was putting together this special program because I want to work with the Air Force, and I remember saying for years that, people join the military for the right reasons. And, our military, which is made of our boys and girls, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, they're never going to turn a gun on us. If anybody's going to save our asses from the evil fucks, pardon my language, that are doing evil crap through the name of the U.S. government, which is a beautiful place, it's going to be our military that turns around and defends their brothers and sisters from the evil within us. It won't be anything from them. No. Our military doesn't want to do anything against them because they're not stupid. Yeah, all of them know. They all know that they're our friends and that they're super special to have around. And if we keep our mouths shut and we play our cards right, maybe these people will tell us something to help us exist, But it's these 1%ers that keep trying to show us that, right? It's like these 1%ers that keep trying to promulgate this media image that the world's going to hell in a handbasket. That's all BS to me. I think that I feel this really powerful sense of love for our future. And that now is something really, really wonderful because we're all here with the same idea that we all love each other and there's no more bullshit. And it's just
people are becoming aware,
Yeah, really. I feel that so strongly. So I'm so happy to I had a good time talking to Lowell, and I've had a good time doing different interviews with people within the community. But I'm glad I'm getting a break, because it was like I was thinking about the community, and it kind of seems a little cultish. Like some of the stuff people are talking about is sheer snake oil bullshit. Yeah. So I'm really happy to step away from this. But, KYMJYM said that I could share openly anything with you and Vivian in private from now on. So if it's about technology or if it's about something that's going on, he's given me the tools to communicate.
Shit, dude, I'm going to take a flight out to see you because I got a lot of stuff.
Well, are you in Arizona?
No, I'm in Michigan.
Oh, I love Michigan. Go Detroit Lions. That's my team, man. I love the Lions. I always go for the underdog. They almost got real close, too, this last year. It was like they got a good coach. Yeah, Michigan's beautiful. And, of course, this time of year, if you go across the Saginaw Bridge and get up to Marquette and go look at all the beautiful trees and the beautiful Lake Superior, you live in God's country, brother.
Well, you know what? It's thanks for the gift of the Ponti, but when I look at the grass and the trees, I can see everything starting to glow again, like an electroluminescent. It's just really, really cool.
Look at my garden, man. It's just like the energy coming off the trees and the ferns and everything. It's just like banging life. It's just something really wonderful is being revealed to all of us. I don't know It's just
Not everybody can see it, you know.
I'm
But
going with it. I'm
to
going
me,
with
it's
it.
like, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that.
Right. Right. Every moment is just beautiful treasure. Absolutely. And that's funny too, because that's the only stuff I share anymore. Like as soon as I see something that doesn't is contrary to my higher functions or contrary to just being a nice person, I think my biggest lesson that I learned from them
Mhm.
was to do the best I could every day to be a nice person.
It's all you can do,
And then, yeah. And then after you do it, after you work at that as much as you possibly can, it becomes second nature. You don't have to worry about what you said or did anymore.
Mhm.
Right? Every day becomes a better gift. Every day gets better than the last one. And it's because I've worked so hard at never being judgmental, always being kind, no matter what people say or do, and just be there for people and hold them in your light. So when something goes wrong, just hold them in the true light of love. And that's the most important function I could provide. It doesn't matter. It could be my son or it could be some guy that owns an auto mechanic store and I can see he's having a bad day. I'm going to go and give this guy some love and some light because that's our most important function. And the more we share love and light, the more we see the light and feel the love. And
Yep, you
that's
got
what
to first
that,
understand it before you can give it.
that's right. That's right. So that's where I live every day in the moment is in this beautiful love for everybody around me and our planet. Vivian, do you have some way to back me up on that one? Because I'm really tired, you guys. I'm actually
Yeah.
Well,
I'm falling asleep. I don't know how long we've been on the air,
No, you've
but
done enough, man. You've done
I
enough.
am
Enough.
beat.
we're about to wrap up. We have about 3 minutes, 3 4 minutes left, and let you decompress. I understand and I appreciate. Then when a higher dimensional being come and enter your field, it's different. Again, I was constructed the other way around because of who I am and being in this projected hybrid form. But the essential, I think, has been really captured, and love, love, love the authority energy of Kim Jim to says, forget about Mars. And I'm glad about this because we have been keeping an eye on Mars for thousands of years, the Arcturians. And before human beings or any variation of beings on this planet will think about recreating the same scenario of polarizations and taking over and creating the same paradox on other planets. There is a coalition to go, we're going to confine you right into between this moon and your earth or Gaia until you understand you evolve in what we call reach a level of spiritual maturity. And then we can talk about exploring before you're beyond your solar system. But it knew that has to be through the mastery of the heart. Master yourself, return to that point, fill the gap, release your animals, the animals that are yours, release the animals' forms, whether it's for cultivation of science and medicines and all the excuses utilizing because you hurt when you injured and you inflict pain and suffering on another sentient life form, you are injuring and inflicting the same pain onto yourself. That needs to be mastered more than anything else, and that is the premise, the cornerstone of your ascension. Then we can talk about coming on the ship and talking about advanced conscious organic technology and see how we can go beyond your solar system, but that has to be mastered. So I want to grab that and run away high with this because when Kim Jim, in his own beautiful way, said it, the doctrine we were like, yes, like a bunch of cheerleaders in the background going, finally, I feel like we've been repeating the same thing like a record, but it's important. And I know we say it with a lot of love and respect for every life form on this planet, but you got to do your part. Work with us. It's a collaboration. You got to do your part. Seriously, every day. And there's no small task anymore. There's nothing mundane anymore. This is an illusion that keeps you tracked into that 3D linear way of thinking. Free yourself from this. Everything becomes sacred to your awakening. So, free life, and then you're going to free your own self. And then we can talk about the harmonics and the galactic, archives and galactic history, and then, stop the distractions. Come back to the essential. Galactic history, it's part of the archive. It's easy to read. It's not very relevant. It's about understanding your place, understanding who you are. And I know I can feel KYMJYM going, yeah, Star Sister, you're right now.
I feel that exact same confirmation coming into me. KYMJYM's just nodding his head saying she got it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I can't wait to watch this again because I'm in a zone of forgetfulness.
I know. And then
it's like, ooh, I need to go smoke some bud and do some deep breathing.
As you wish, my dear. We all.
Oh, listen, I'm gonna fall back on God's great green herb. I just love the stuff, and I'm 59. I turned 59, and I do have some inherited arthritis from my British family, and so it kicks in every once in a while. I'm glad I don't drink because I know alcohol is bad for arthritis. So, but I do smoke a little of the devil's lettuce, and boy, does that help my arthritis, let me tell you.
Humans are so fascinating creatures, let me tell you.
My son says that I get pretty chatty and I say some pretty funny stuff. That's why I tend to do it alone.
Yeah, where's the bag of chips at?
Oh, no, I don't go that way anymore. It used to be like, where's that organic apple pie? I just eat the whole thing. Now I'm just like, I'm well past that. But like I said, though, I believe everything I put into my mouth is good for me because thoughts are things. And so I'm only careful to eat beautiful, healthy foods that are fresh and things that I've grown here in my garden. And we're really blessed that way. So,
well,
I just want to say how much I love and respect both of you. And it was really important for me to say goodbye to your community because I've made friends from people who follow you, Vivian, and you, Jeff. Both of you are very important souls. And your friendship and your guidance as something that I've been tuning into every time you're up. And I just wanted to say how very grateful I am for having both of you in my life.
Same here, brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love you guys.
We love you too. Everyone, tune in next week. We're coming back right away next Sunday, May 5th, the first Sunday of May. That's because I'm going to be in Grafton, Illinois. After that, for the Rebel of Disclosure with Tyler and Aaron from Journey to Truth. And the next Sunday, May 5th, we're going to have the one and only Laura Eisenhower. Same time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. But for today, we are blessed by your presence, your friendship. Thank you to you and William, your wonderful son, and all of you tuning in. You have been absolutely phenomenal supporting this episode today. Absolutely phenomenal. And remember, we are doing this together. It's a collaboration. We need you. So stay in your light, everyone. No fear. This is all news. Stay in your light. We'll see you on the next episode. Much love, everyone.